Good afternoon and welcome to the last lecture in the overview section. So now that we have a better understanding of where everything is in the launcher, we have the engine version hopefully downloaded and the content examples ready for use when we need some of the material from inside of that project. What we'll do now is create our own project. So to do this, if we go to the newly installed Unreal 4 engine version that you now have, and from here we can launch. You'll be greeted with a small loading screen, and we can either launch the projects we already have in this version. If you don't have anything here, don't worry, that's fine. We will correct that now. So what we are interested in doing is going to new project, and we've got two options here. We have blueprint project or we have a C++ project. This course will deal purely with blueprints, and we also have some really interesting options here. We can create a first person project, so it will give us a first person character we can run around with, a gun which fires, and just some basic interactivity. The same with the others. We've got flying. All of these are fully interactive and set up for you to start testing and playing about with vehicle projects and things like that. So these are great again if you wanted to learn something by playing about before following along with any of the lectures. That's fine. You can create one of these, name it something, create project, and go in and play about and see what's happening. They're also really good as a starting point if you wanted to create a 2D side scroller. Then this is perfect because you've got some of the fundamental content and functionality there, which you can then quickly prototype from and see if the idea works and play about things like that. So that's really great. I really love the idea that that's there and provided by Epic. However, we, as I said previously, will be starting from a completely blank project so that we can import everything ourselves. That way we're kind of in control of every stage of the project, and especially for learning it's great to know what goes where and why things are working how they do. So that's the approach we'll be taking. So if we go to the blank option, and down here we don't need any starter content, the maximum quality should be fine, and just locate where you want to save your project. So I've got mine here, and the important thing is that we give it a logical name. So I'm going to call this Space Shooter Template. So that will be the project name for the rest of this course. We will need to look out for the Space Shooter template. You can name yours as you wish, but just remember what you've called it. And then hit create project, and that will load this screen here. Okay, so with that loaded, we're then greeted with the default map, which we do have one thing here. We've got a player start and we've got a floor. So you can press play and you can kind of fly about in a spectator type of mode. And when you're in this mode, it's very standard FPS first person game mode style. So you've got your WAS, WASD to move around. The mouse will control where you're looking, and space will make you go up and down, as will Q and E. And this is essentially how you navigate the game mode as well. So that was if you press the play button up there, and escape will just bring you back to the editor. And when you're in the editor, if you want to move around, you hold the right mouse click to look around. The middle mouse you can pan. You can go left, right, up or down. And the left mouse click held down will make you dolly in and out. And finally, left mouse click on an object will make you select that object. And again, if you wanted to move around in a kind of first person style movement, if you hold the right mouse button so you're looking and then used your WAS and D, that will make you fly around the scene in the kind of first person movement you'd expect. So that's just some of the simple bindings and setup to move around the world in your new map. The only other thing I like to do, I'm just going to go over here where my mouse is and click on the show or hide the source panel button, and that way you get the content folder, which will be populating in future videos, and this will show you the content within those folders. And there's just a couple of other things you want to do. So you should already have this project settings tab open at the top. This is open by default. If for some reason that hasn't been opened and you just have this single tab, what we can do is we go over here to the settings button and we drop that down to the project settings. Now all of this will look very intimidating if you are brand new to the engine, so don't worry about this, just follow along. As I said, everything will slowly come to pieces and make sense as we go through, which is the other reason I try to only cover the relevant topics as and when we need them, because there's no reason to try and remember how to navigate the entire system just in case you need it at some point. So what we're going to do, ignore all of these, we just want to change the maps in modes. So you've hopefully picked up, I've already said the word map a few times. So this is our map that we're in, and if we go back to the maps and modes, all we want to do is, we can see here that the editor startup map is the template's default and the game default map is entry. We're just going to make that one map. So if we go back very quickly to our content folder, right click on the content folder and create new folder and call this maps. And then with that done, we're going to right click anywhere in this section over here and we will create a new map, a map, or also called a level, and we will call this main. So if we go into main, don't need to save that, we'll be given a completely black screen. It doesn't look quite as good as what we had, but this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what we want, I promise. So with that done, we can save that. So Control S to save the main map. We're going to go back over to our project settings one last time, and in the editor startup map we are now going to select main, and then in the game default map we are also going to select main. And the reason being, all this does is, now when we leave the project, close it, and then if we come back we will start in this map. Otherwise we would always start in the default map and we'd have to navigate to the level of the map that we've made at a later time. So this is just time saving, and you can do this for any map. So if you know that you're going to be adding, say in the development pipeline you've created level 1 and you've pretty much finished that, you probably won't need to see that for a few more months and you're moving on to level 2, then you would simply make level 2 map the main default map in here, so that you didn't have to keep swapping to that one if that's going to be the one you're using the majority of the time. So that's the reason that's there. Really handy, very useful if you use it properly. So this is our project setup. This is ready for us to start bringing things in and making things look more like a game. So I'll leave that there and I will see you in the next lecture.